Well, good morning, my friends. How are you? Welcome to another edition of Behind the Mic with me, Mike Avery, here from the Outdoor Magazine radio studio on what is a beautiful, beautiful Wednesday morning in my part of the world. It's sunny, bluebird skies, nice cool temperature, and it is indeed fall, right? Even though the calendar doesn't quite officially say fall yet. When is that? The 21st, 22nd? So coming up in a few days, a little less than a week. But it is certainly nice out. Good morning, Davina. Always a pleasure. Wouldn't be a Wednesday without you joining us. Hey, Craig, how you doing, buddy? I just finished my last cigar from that box that you got me. I was milking it. I was making them last. Yeah, the kids did real well. A lot of kids did real well, including my grandson, Carter. Good morning, Jim. How are you? Matt, how are things down on Lake Erie? Bill, I'm doing great this morning. How are you? Hello, Bobby. That's a name I do not recognize. Thanks for joining us on this edition of Behind the Mic. Paul checking in from hell, where he says it's beautiful in hell this morning. Kat, good morning. How are you, Doug? Happy Wednesday to you as well. Thank you, Brad. Appreciate that. How are you this morning? Morning, Brian. Kansas City, Missouri. What are you doing out there? Are you working or are you having fun, Ed? Raymond. Hey, Uncle Johnny. How are you, buddy? Where'd you go? There you are, Johnny. Johnny, my new driver should be here today, and we're fishing. We're golfing this weekend, right? Algonac checking in. Good morning, Jerry. Kevin, Paul. I bet you are. Hey, Paul, you're out of Facebook jail now, huh? How big is that bear that you guys got last night? I mean, 400. Huge, huge animal. Yeah, I will. I will. I will, Tim. Thanks for that. Yeah, that Brenton did the job. That 350 Legend. I didn't know what to expect. I mean, it's been a long time since I've seen a deer shot with a rifle. Long, long time. 15 years. And that Brenton 350 Legend really did the job. Carter put a good shot on her. I didn't think he hit her at first. I said, Carter, the way she ran up 500, Paul says 500. Ooh. Send me some pictures I can post, Paul. The fall turkey openers tomorrow. Thank you for that, Brian. I got to get my fall turkey tag. I keep forgetting to get it. In fact, I got to pick up all my. No, I think I've got them all, except for my bear tag. I don't have my bear license yet. I haven't picked it up yet. So I didn't think, hey, Judy, how have you been? I didn't think Carter hit that doe. The way she took off, I said, I think you missed her. And he said, no, Grandpa, I hit her. I said, are you sure? He said, believe me, I hit her. And when we found the doe, and she only went about 60 yards, he hit her all right behind the shoulder, took out both lungs. Good shot, Carter. Jeff, how are things in Port Hope this morning? Where Bruce says, Mike, what day is it? It be hump day. South Louisiana, lower humidity and temperature where the fish are biting. ML, how did you find me? Are you a Michigan guy who moved south, or are you a Louisiana guy who just happened to find us? Either way, I'm glad you're with us. The internet is painfully slow there. Hey, Laura, how are you? Haven't talked to you in a while. Ross, you called me last night. Oh, that's right. You hunted last night. Didn't want you to. I was tired when you called, Ross. I apologize for not getting a call, but I couldn't, and I was going to call you back today. So I'm glad you saw two bears, passed on them both, didn't want to shoot the first hour in the blind. I hear you. That's the way I was when I was hunting with Gary Morgan a few years ago. I had a bear walk in 45 minutes after the season opened, and I didn't want to end my season already. Now, I will tell you this, that hunting with Johnny, I really want a Michigan bear. If a good bear walks in front of me, friends from the area. Thank you, ML. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. Good morning, Cliff. How are you? if a decent bear walks in front of me the first hour with Johnny, I am going to shoot it. Ross, a great trip to Alaska, was able to harvest a Sitka blacktail. That is a trophy. Where were you, Ross? Were you on Kodiak? Were you on Kodiak Island? If so, you earned that animal because I know what it's like to hunt on Kodiak. Matt says, are Michiganders excited that the fall brawl is open to Michigan Lake Erie water? I didn't know they weren't in the past, Matt. Thank you for that. Thoughts on the National Guard wanting to expand up in Grayling? Based on the reaction from people who do have a dog in the hunt, it's about your okay. I will, Ross. It'll have to be once I get out of the studio here, but I will. Based on what hey, Trini, how are you? Mike Natkowski, always a pleasure, buddy. And going back to the Camp Grayling, based on the reaction of people I know and friends who do have a vested interest in the situation, it appears there are a lot of people who are against it. And these aren't people who are anti-military or I don't want to say anti-government, but Trini, how are things in your world? Roger's ready to go slamming. Salmon. So what else is going on? Yes, the youth hunt. The youth hunt appears it was another great success. Boy, Saturday was beautiful weather. Sunday morning was beautiful weather. I was really glad that Carter was able to get his doe Sunday morning. Now, I couldn't hunt Saturday because Saturday we were downstate. We were downstate wedding dress shopping, and we were downstate looking at venues for a wedding for my daughter, Shelby. So I was tied up Saturday. So I knew I only had Sunday to hunt with my grandson, Carter. I knew it was going to rain like crazy, or the forecast called for a lot of rain Sunday night. And I was hoping we didn't have to be out there Sunday night, not because we weren't protected from the rain, because we were in one of those Wraith 270 see-through ground blinds. By the way, thank you to my good friend Scott Gatza for allowing us to hunt his property for the youth hunt. And he's let me hunt out there before too. Scott, I really do appreciate that. So when that big doe walked in at 7:07 Sunday morning, I'm like, yes, thank you, Lord. Hey, Lord, how are you? Prince of Wales, tough hunt for sure. Access very limited to get up the Alpine, which is where the Bucks are. Ross, you congratulations. You did earn that Sitka then. Nice. Good morning, Ted. How are you? Am I leasing? No, we've still got that leased land in Midland County. In fact, we were out there 2 weeks ago putting in some last-minute food plots. And I'm actually I'm thinking about taking one of those wraiths out there and putting it on a raised platform like Scott had over his food plot. I think that'd be real good. Bob's at Bear Camp. How are things going? Shadowland Pavilion in St. Joe is a great place for my daughter's wedding. Thank you, Jamie. She actually, I think she's going to get married at the DSO, Detroit Symphony Orchestra building, which is very, very cool. And it'll be Labor Day of next year. So we've got all that going on. Anyway, Scott, yeah, we're still leasing that property. Nice. It is nice. We looked, like I say, we looked at it sad. What else? So Carter had a great hunt. That Brenton 350 leg did the job on that big doe. Hey, Jerry, how are you? Nice to have you along with us on this edition of Behind the Mic. Serendipity Farms in Blanchard, great wedding venue. There's a lot of them across the state. Shelby is living in Detroit, Metro Detroit now. Her fiance Aditi is also in Metro Detroit, so they're going to get married down there. Bob Ransom has some 12-foot platforms. He maybe that's a good point. I don't think I want to be 12 feet. I was thinking about 8 feet, but that's a really good point, Ed. Bob has platforms designed to put the wraiths on. Thank you, Ed Bolanowski. How did I forget about that? 2 notes. Fall turkey, wraith platform. Thank you, Ed Bolanowski. And I just got an order in from Primal. Good morning, Josh. Congrats on your family's youth hunt success. Great picture. 12 feet. 12 feet. Thank you, Ed. What's the website for? Help me out, Ross. For who, Ross? What's the website for them? Who, Ross? Hoorah! Hoorah! Who, Ross? Ross, good luck on your hunt. I was just talking to Johnny this morning. He said he couldn't be with us this morning because he's going way out in the middle of nowhere to cut down brush or something. What website, Ross? Help me. Primaltreestands.com. That's primaltreestands.com. Use the promo code Avery. You can get a deep discount on anything on the website. And thank you for that, Ross. You are more than welcome, Josh. Mapes. Ed is picking up 7-foot blinds. Okay, Ed, help me out. 7-foot blinds. Oh, the new big blinds you can run a quad into. Is that the ones you're talking about? Yeah, platform. I'd forgotten all about that. Are you looking for me, Ross? Are you looking right now? Well, right back at you, Cap. How are you, Jim? How are things in Gladwin County this morning? I know Ross is in bear camp and he's looking up the Primal website. Ready to go, Pat? Yeah. Here I am. Here. Kevin said, I just built a platform for his ground blind, not nearly 12 feet. Website again, primaltreestands.com, primaltreestands.com, Ross Elliott. Hey, Kevin, how have you been? I haven't heard from you in a while. Hope everything is going well. Oh, this is interesting. But the Primal 360 doesn't work with 5G. Laura, it doesn't use cell signal. That should have nothing to do with it. It uses the, and again, I don't know if it's a Bluetooth or the Wi-Fi from your phone, and I don't remember which, but it should not be related to the cell signal at all. And I can verify it doesn't use cell because when I was using it up in the bush in Ontario, there was no cell service at all. It still worked. Please tell me more, Laura. And by the way, Laura, how are you? How have you been? Love to go bear hunting with you again sometime, Laura. That would be wonderful, you and Dave. But you're springtime hunters up there in Ontario, aren't you? Ross, primaltreestands.com, primaltreestands.com. Use the promo code Avery. Oh, by the way, if you want to go to BrentonUSA.com, BrentonUSA.com, use the promo code Avery. You can get $100 off on one of those Brenton USA rifles, or you can just go to Jay's. You don't get the discount at Jay's, but you can put your hands on them, see them, put it in your hands, put it up to your eye. Just going to ask how that camera was working out. I didn't use it for the youth hunt because there was really no need to, because we had the Wraith 270 sitting over food plot on an elevated platform. So there was really no reason to see what was coming in behind us. I'll tell you where I think that camera will be really useful is in the springtime for turkey season. Ross says, don't see any platforms for the Wraith. So Ed Bolanowski, what are you talking about? It does have, okay. It has its own Wi-Fi, but the phone control gives this error message when trying to connect. Okay, Laura, here's I think I might know what your problem is because I ran into the same thing. Are you trying to use the app? You know, the packaging for that camera, the 360, there's a QR code that you scan that takes you to an app. I couldn't get that app to connect either. So you don't want to scan that QR code. There's actually a different app you want to connect to. And once I downloaded that app, it worked perfectly. Now, I can't tell you what that is because I'm using my phone right now as my camera. It's the Hideout. Okay. I'm using my phone right now as my camera, so I can't mess around with it to see what that app is called. But get in touch with me later. We can talk about that. Scott says, did you wrap the boat? The fish are still there. Scott, I did not wrap my boat, but Len, Len from Linwood Beach, he is now running my boat. He picked up my boat last Thursday or Friday, and he now has that boat for the rest of the season. I was at the Angler Quest dealers meeting Monday, and I saw my new boat. It's ready to rock. I'm just going to take it to Linwood Beach and have them shrink wrap it. I'm done fishing. Okay. Ross says they have a 7-foot hideout quad pod with a blind enclosure, also a 12-foot one too. Thank you, Laura. Thank you. And I'm glad to hear that you're doing good. Laura is, I tell you what, Laura is one of the people that you can thank for getting crossbows opened to all hunters here in Michigan. She's the president of the Michigan Crossbow Hunters Association and the founder of that organization and a champion for crossbows. And she worked very hard to get that through. So, Laura, we all owe you a debt of gratitude. Jim checking in from Tennessee, he says it is cooler. I'm having a great week, Mike. Thank you for that. Brent says his audio is bad. Or is it just you? It's just you, Brent. It's just you. It's nobody else. It's just you. Brent still had that opening in Ohio. Okay, so my bear season now coming up next week. Next weekend. I hear you. Not bugging me at all. I'm feeling bad for you, Pat. You're working on a good deal. Davina's got bad audio there too. Is it the quality or is it lagging? Let me check my settings. I should be hooked in. Are you hearing this mic right here? Do you hear me tap that when I do? If not, I'm using the wrong microphone. Even though it says my audio is hooked to the right mic. You hear this? By the way, let's see. By the way, that's number 33 for Dead Bears. The name of the Ohio Bow Hunting Outfitters, ohiobowhuntingoutfitters.com. But do you hear this? Do you hear that tap? I think what might be happening, to be honest with you, the Wi-Fi here in the radio studio is so bad. I mean, it is just terrible. You wouldn't think that in a broadcast facility, the Wi-Fi would be that bad, but it is. It's really bad. Okay, so I'm using the right mic. Apparently, we just got a bad Wi-Fi connection this morning. Now, when I get home tonight, my Wi-Fi there is like lightning speed. So for Wednesday Night Live, it should be all good. What else? Small game season now coming up here Friday? No, tomorrow. Opens tomorrow. Waterfall season, bow season coming up here now, October 1st. Fall turkey, great fall fishing. Man, it's a wonderful time of year, isn't it? Wonderful time of year. Blurry and lagging. Yeah, it's the Wi-Fi connection. Jim says, how do you keep the coons from stealing the bear bait? The bait is usually gone before the bears come in. I don't know the answer to that. Because up there in Ontario where I hunt, there aren't any raccoons. And Johnny does my bear baiting here in Michigan. I don't have an answer for that, Cap. Michigan Outdoor said, what's my opinion on the youth hunt? Should there be any adjustments made as far as the age? I hear people always going back and forth on the topic. I'm a huge fan of the Michigan youth hunt. If you could have seen the smile on my 15-year-old grandson Carter's face, you wouldn't want to make any adjustments at all. I love it. The only suggestion I might have would have it be does only in the parts of the state where you can legally harvest a doe. Of course, that would leave out parts of the UP, and it would have to be bucks only there. I love the youth hunt. And if you look at the pictures of the smiling kids on the Facebook page, you would agree. Did you check to see how many deer didn't get registered from the youth hunt? How many did? I don't know how you would know that, because how would you know that, Scott? I'm not being a smart aleck. How would you know? That seems like how would you know that? I did check in Carter's deer. In fact, when I took it to the processor, you had to show the processor your confirmation number for checking the animal in before they would accept it. which I was a little bit surprised. I did notice, people are bitching about the fact that, oh, you've got to give your GPS coordinates. If you're really hung up on that, you actually can lie about it. From what I've seen on the app, and I've only used it once, I just told them what county it was, and then you can take your cursor and you can move it anywhere. I mean, you could tell them you shot at say I was Midland County. I could have taken the cursor and I could have put it on the Midland High football field and submitted it. I don't think. I mean, if you're worried about the exact GPS coordinates, it looks to me like you can fudge it. But like I say, I've only used it once. Only used it once. Great Lakes Casing, use a barrel, cut a small hole in the end. Interesting too, Jim, because I took that deer to Stutzman's, and they are Amish. And that's the question they're asking. How are we going to register our deer? We don't go online. How many did get registered? Well, I'll tell you what, Chad Stewart's on the show with me this week. I'll ask him. Yeah, the Amish question is interesting. They said what they do is they call in the local biologist to have it done. And they said, we think he'll get sick of that very soon. I'm actually in favor of registering the deer. Sportsman Club that Vina belongs to, where did I go? Years past, there was 70% voting. As of late, it's only 20%. You shouldn't have to fudge anything. Well, I agree, Fred, and I only put that out there because some people are worried about giving exact coordinates. Scott says over 5,000 were registered. Thank you for that, Scott. I don't like big government either, right? But I don't think registering our deer is an overreach by the DNR. By the way, 20 seconds. Hey, thanks for the heads up, guys. Appreciate that. Stutzman's is the best. Wow. This is the type of people I work with. By the way, Avery, you're on the air. We know you work well under pressure. Man, I didn't even get a chance. Oh, I got to start. Oh, man. I got to start a timer here. Boom. I didn't even get a chance to tell you who's on the show this week. But it's a good one. Trust me on that. Ross says 6,038 deer were registered. It does keep me on my toes. All right, my friends. I'm going to record the first segment of the show. You're more than welcome to stick around if you want. I'll talk about many of the same topics we've already covered, but I would encourage you to join me tonight, 7 o'clock, for another edition of Wednesday Night Live. And, of course, the Wednesday After Live segment, as we're all smoking cigars and drinking bourbon or beer. Hey. Well, thank you, Ken Hunter, for that introduction, and welcome to another edition of the Outdoor Magazine show right here on the Outdoor Magazine Radio Network. More than 30 stations across the great state of Michigan. I'm here for 3 hours each week talking about the history and tradition of the outdoors, primarily here in the great state of Michigan. And what a great state it is, especially this time of year. The middle of September, the weather for the most part has been real nice, at least in my part of the world. Lots going on. Of course, the youth hunt last weekend. You know, I know some people complain about that youth hunt and they say we shouldn't, yada, yada, yada. You've heard the arguments. But if you could have seen the look and the smile on my grandson Carter's face when he shot that big doe and we walked up on her, you would say there's nothing bad about the youth hunt. It was a great, great hunt. We had been getting ready for this for a while. My friend Scott graciously allowed us to hunt his property. In fact, he's such a great guy that he built a platform to put the primal wraith blind up on over a food plot that he had put in. Now, he wasn't doing this just for us, but still, he allowed us access to this, and it was wonderful. I had taken that Brenton USA hunting rifle, the 350 Legend, in an AR-style platform. I had taken it to Duncan's Outdoor Shop in Bay City about 3 weeks ago to get it sighted in to make sure it was good to go for both Carter's youth hunt and my upcoming bear hunt. The night before the season, 2 nights before the season, I took Carter out to my buddy Doug's farm to have him take a few shots to make sure he was comfortable with the rifle, to make sure he was accurate with the rifle, and he was on the target. But listen, it's one thing being accurate on a target, and it's another thing being accurate when a critter walks in front of you. So we got out to the blind early Sunday. Couldn't hunt Saturday. I was tied up on some other family obligations on Saturday. Hunting Sunday. Now, the forecast for Sunday was very interesting. It was supposed to be nice and cool, maybe a little bit misty, a little bit foggy in the morning. And then mid-afternoon, it was supposed to start to rain, and it did. I did not want to be in the blind hunting Sunday afternoon if we didn't have to. It's not that I don't mind the rain. I don't mind rain. We were protected from the rain sitting there in the blind. But I'm not a huge fan of trying to have to track an animal if you do get a marginal hit in the rain. Turns out we didn't have to worry about it. We got out there real early in the morning. In fact, we were waiting there at least an hour before it even started to get light. Just as it started to crack daylight, I told Carter, he's like, every 10 minutes, he's like, what time is it? What time is it? I'm like, dude, why do you keep asking me what time it is? You got somewhere better to be? You got somewhere you got to go? Well, no, I just want to know what time it is, because so I could tell he was getting excited. About 7:00, just as it's starting to get light, and it was a beautiful morning. There was some fog in the air. I mean, I was taking pictures of the sunrise. It was so beautiful, or what was going to be a sunrise. Big doe walks into the food plot. I said, Carter, there she is. And I'm looking at her with binos and like, she's an adult doe. She is a valid, viable target, because Scott only wanted us to take does. And I respect that. And if a guy lets you hunt his property, you shoot whatever it is he wants you to shoot. So we knew that we were out there hunting for a big doe. She came out of the woods into the food plot. Carter starts to breathe faster. I said, there's your doe. Take your time. Let her get a little closer. Let her turn broadside. Put the crosshairs just behind her shoulder and squeeze the trigger when I give you the go-ahead. Now, I had planned to get this all on video, right? I had my video camera out there. I had it set up on the tripod. I charged the batteries the night before. But I get out there that morning in the dark and I go to turn it on and it wouldn't turn on. Well, it turns out the battery did charge, but when I put it in the camera, the on switch was on, so I had a dead battery. So the doe comes in there. I wait for her to turn. I say, okay, whenever you're ready. Carter squeezes the trigger. Bam! Doe runs off. I said, Carter, I don't think you hit her, because she ran away like she wasn't even touched. He said, Grandpa, I hit her. I said, dude, I don't think so. He says, Grandpa, I'm telling you, I hit her. He said, I hit her good. Okay, put the safety on the gun, lean it up against the blind. We're going to sit here for a couple of minutes, let the woods calm down, and we'll go out there and see if we find blood. Well, that's exactly what we did. And you know what? He was right. He hit her. He hit her all right. My buddy Scott has said, listen, he has a friend named Cody who has a tracking dog. And he said, unless that doe drops in her tracks, if you don't mind, I'd like to call in Cody and his tracking dog just for practice, for a practice run. I said, no, I'd love to see this happen. So Carter told me he had a good hit. We had good blood, but we brought the tracking dog in anyway, just, for practice. About 60 yards off the food plot, there she lays with a perfect shot between right through both lungs. And again, Carter was so excited and so happy and such a nice smile. How could you not like an experience? How could you not embrace an experience like that? How could you not promote a hunt like that gives young people an opportunity to get out in the woods, enjoy our lifestyle? So what if they got a couple of weeks start on it? Big deal. So what if they don't continue to hunt the rest of their lives? Big deal. They had this experience. They can relate to hunting. They can think of themselves as a hunter. When they get a few years older, they can vote as hunters. There's not, I can't find anything wrong with it at all. It was great. It was great. I did take that that doe the next morning. We put her on the place I was going to take it. The processor is closed on Sunday, so we cleaned her all out good. I packed her in ice. I wrapped her in ice, and I just kept her in the back of the truck. And I kept checking on her throughout the day, and she was fine. So I take it up to the processor Monday morning, an Amish processor, by the way. And I had not checked that deer in yet online. I had planned to later in the day on Monday. But I get to the processor at Stutzman's, and they said, "What's your confirmation number for the check-in?" I said, I didn't check her in yet. They said, "Well, then we can't accept the carcass." So in the parking lot there of Stutzman's, I did it online right there. Now I will take my bear that I hope to shoot here in a couple of weeks. That one's going to go to Michigan brand because I want some brats. We were just having burger made out of this doe. I didn't find the process of checking it in to be tough at all. People gripe about, well, you've got to give them your GPS coordinates. That doesn't bother me, but if it does bother you, I'll be completely honest. I only have one experience with this app. If that does bother you, it looks to me like you can fudge it a little bit. I told them what county I was in, and then you can move the cursor on where the exact harvest was anywhere you want. Now, I want to give the DNR accurate info because I want them to be working on accurate numbers and info when they make their plans for future hunts and wildlife management. But if you, for some reason, don't trust the DNR, or you think it's an overreach by a government agency to ask you where you shot your deer, it looks to me like you can fudge it a little bit. I'm not suggesting you do that. I'm just saying that's an observation that I saw with my very limited one-time experience with the app. I thought it was great all the way around. Very impressed with that Brenton USA hunting rifle, that 350 Legend. To be honest with you, I have not seen a deer shot with a rifle in probably 15 years, maybe closer to 20 years. So I was pretty excited to see it. All of my big game harvests have been with a bow for the last 15 years or so. The rifle did a good job. Very impressed. Now I'm looking forward to using that here next weekend already. Yeah, next weekend already with my bear hunt with Johnny Bowler in the UP. We'll see if that Brenton can't get put to use once again. Small game season open now, fall turkey season open now, waterfowl season, bow season coming up, great fall fishing. Does it get any better than this? I don't think so. Coming up on this week's Outdoor Magazine show, Captain Jerry Link of Originator Charters out of St. Joe talking about this fall fishing, this big lake fishing that is still going on, also river fishing for steelhead and kings, maybe even some walleye in the St. Joe River. Nick Bougie of the Michigan Wildlife Council joins us. He is an avid upland bird hunter. In hour number 2, Chad Stewart, the DNR's deer guy, to talk about all things deer hunting, all things regulations, all things crop damage permits, all things checking in your deer. And in our third hour, Mike Horswell of Jay Sporting Goods talking about the process of processing your own deer. And as long as we're on that topic, we'll wrap it all up with wild game chef extraordinaire Dixie Dave Miner, and he will have a very nice venison recipe for us. My name is Mike Avery. The website, MikeAveryOutdoors.com. My email address, Mike@MikeAveryOutdoors.com. Do not hesitate to reach out to me with your questions, your comments, your criticisms. Mike@MikeAveryOutdoors.com. We'll take a break now. When we come back, Jerry Link of Originator Charters, originatorcharters.com, talking about fishing Southwest Michigan in the fall, right here on Outdoor Magazine. All right, my friends. I got to go. Thanks for joining me. And we'll talk to you tonight, 7 o'clock, for another edition of Wednesday Night Live.